Hello everybody, I'm Mark. I'm one of the strength and conditioning coaches that work down the arena. I've got Millie here with me today who's actually doing the filming while I'm talking. And what we're doing is we're putting a short video together for you just to support all the information that we've sent out for the fitness testing and health questionnaires and PARQ forms that we need to get you to fill in to be able to participate in this year's charity challenge. Basically, what you will have been sent out is 4 different documents. We've got the standard PARQ form, which you have actually already filled in, but we're having to do it again because of the time lapse that we've had because of the last COVID lockdown. So you've got PARQ form. Then we've done a health and wellness questionnaire with a number of questions on, and what we're looking to do is just get an handle on how much walking you've been doing in preparation for the charity challenge and basically your general health. And then we've got a data collection form where you've got 6 exercises that we would like you to have a go at doing at home, and then fill in the results on the data collection form and send all the forms back to us. Finally, there is one other document that we've sent out, and that's the protocols on how you actually do all the 6 tests we've asked you to have a go at. What we're now going to do is Millie's going to demonstrate for you the 6 tests, so you get a visual example of how you were to do them, just in case the protocol information isn't clear enough for you. Thank you. So obviously on the form, don't forget to put your name and fill your team information and date when you're actually doing it. We do require your weight in kilograms, your height in meters and centimeters, and your date of birth. So the first test that Millie's going to have a go at is taking a resting heart rate. And what she's going to do, she's going to put her index finger and what I suppose we call a ring finger on the radial artery in the wrist. And you might have to play around a little bit to find your pulse. Obviously, we have said in the instructions that if you've got a heart rate monitor or a watch, or certainly even some phones now have a facility on there where you can actually find your heart rate from there. Ideally, when you take your resting heart rate, it should be taken before you actually get out of bed in the morning, so when you're lying down in a supine position. But a good alternative to this is doing what Millie's just doing now and finding your pulse sitting up with 2 fingers, and that's the sort of best default position. But if you are in a position, you will find when you're lying down flat, you will find that your heart rate is probably running several beats lower than it would do when you're even sat up. So that's the first test, and we recommend that you hold this for 60 seconds to get your reading, rather than doing it for 15 or 30 seconds and timesing it by 4 or 2 respectively. Okay, the next test Millie's going to do is she's going to take her waist circumference, and all you need is a tape and put it essentially over where your belly button is. And then take the reading. Again, if we could have it in centimetres please, it would be most helpful. The next measurement is your hip circumference. That's right, so it goes over the central part of your hips, just at the top of your legs. Okay, again the measurement is in centimetres. Everybody, the next test that we've got is what we've called the adapted step test. Now obviously it's going to depend on the height of the step that you've got available. The box Millie's got here on this aerobic box is about 13 inches in height. We've just measured it. If you came to the gym last time and you did the step test on the lower benches that we had then, those benches were 8 inches off the floor. Obviously, the higher the bench, potentially the harder the test. If you haven't got a bench or a box that you can step up on, that's around about between 8 to 12 inches in height, just use a step at the bottom of your stairs. And then what you need to do is you need to go onto the internet, either on your phone via an app, or onto Google, for example, and download a metronome. And then you can set the metronome at 96 beats a minute. Step up and down on the box in beat with the metronome. So at the top of the box, she's on the beat, and she's at the bottom of the beat, she's on the floor. So beep, 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 and so on. Now you're going to do this continually for 3 minutes. And then after 3 minutes, we'll stop that now, Millie's going to sit down onto the box, ascertain what your heart rate is. So using the technique we've previously talked about, Millie's given an example at the moment with the fingers on the radial artery, or if you've got a pulse monitor or a phone or a watch that will allow you to record your heart rate, you can use that information. But basically we want to know, what did your heart rate go to during that test. Okay, so the next test, Millie's going to give you an example of the press up test. So the first one she's going to do, she's going to go into the press up position, and if you look, there's a nice straight line between Millie's ankles running up to her shoulders. So her body isn't bridged where her bottom's up in the air, or she's got an excessive curve in her lumbar spine. So she's really trying to keep her spine as straight and tight as she can do. Your hands are just outside your shoulder width, and your fingers, if you drew a line across, would come roughly, the line at the tip of your fingers would, your nose would be over that line. And then she's just going to let her body weight go down towards the floor, and just before her chest touches the floor, she comes back up again. Now, if you can't manage that, you can put your knees on the floor and go up and down into the press-up position off your knees, and we're okay with that. But on the form, if you could make sure that when you fill all these results in, make sure you fill in what press-up you're actually doing. So the final test out of the 6 exercises is the abdominal sit-up test. And what Millie's doing is she's lying out flat on the floor with the legs out straight, and if you notice, Millie's elbows are actually touching the floor in this start position. And then what she's going to do is sit up simultaneously. She's going to bend one knee, and if you notice, the leg that she's bending, both her feet stay on the floor. And the reason for this is you want to take your hip flexors out of the exercise and make it solely your abdominals that are having to lift your torso up. And then, as she's just demonstrated, she's coming up onto the opposite side. So she does another repetition. Her fingers are in contact with the side of her head at all times. Her feet are in contact with the floor at all times. Her elbow, opposite elbow to opposite knee. And she's always going back down into that supine position where she's out straight and her elbows are touching the floor.